0845 500 1025, the number to get through as ever tonight. Remember, we're with you right through till 8 o'clock. Romeo follows us with In Demand. Let's say good evening first tonight to Frank. Hi, Frank.
Good evening, Jim, Hugh and Gordon.
Hi, Frank.
Good evening. I'm kind of forced to make this call, Jim and the rest of you, and because I'm absolutely incensed, to be perfectly honest. Have been growingly over the last number of years, but especially the last few weeks. Because I think the huge question that's been sort of, let's say, swept under the carpet and not dealt with is the shocking, absolutely disgusting, disgraceful treatment we're witnessing at this moment in our society, in our time in Scottish football, when an orchestrated and systematic attempt to basically mentally and physically destroy another human being's taking place, and that human being being Neil Lennon. And the whole decade he's been at Celtic through as a player and as a manager. He's been subjected to, well, we could only call it the most brutal and vicious physical attacks that any professional footballer in my living memory, and that's 40 odd years, has ever been subjected to anywhere that I can think of, anywhere in the world, to be honest. I can't think of another player that's been put up to this. The pressure this guy is under is beyond intolerable. I can't even begin to believe what he's got to mentally deal with day in, day out, waiting for a phone call to come that something might have happened and not might have happened. But added to this, we just seem to sit back as a society, and the media, the radio stations, the public in general, clubs, football associations, players associations have sat back and basically seen this thing grow and happen simply because, and this is the crux of the matter, Jim, that's got to be dealt with, simply because he's a Northern Ireland Catholic man who dared play for the club he loved and show that love on his sleeve, and put his heart on his sleeve, if you like. And without doubt, Neil, and as a player, as a manager, has overreacted to certain situations and has got to rein that in. But that is absolutely no argument for what's happening to this man right now.
Okay, Frank,
Jim, please. See, Jim, you seem to interrupt people. I'm trying to make a point.
You've made a very good point, Frank.
No, Jim, it's not finished yet.
We would like another opinion, Hugh.
What Frank says is true. Since the day and hour Neil Lennon signed for Celtic, he has been subjected to a level of abuse which I believe no other person in Scottish football has had to contend with. I said to you on Saturday, the Scottish game is in the gutter, and I stand by every word, because when you hear the stories of the Lennon family and what they're having to endure, of a 6-year-old child who is unable to go to school unless he has protection, of a family taken at 1:30 in the morning and moved to a safe house, and I deeply regret even having to use these terms, then Frank is correct that we live in unprecedented and shameful times. I don't think that people are standing back. I think we're taken aback by all that's going on. And the latest attempt to besmirch his name by alleged racist accusations, which by El Hadj Diouf's own account are untrue, malicious, inaccurate, misguided. We live in very, very strange times, and yes, Neil Lennon is due all of the protection he can receive, but we're trying to come to terms with how we can legislate for suspicious packages picked up at a post office in Saltcoats. We're trying to be football people, discussing football issues, and here we have in our midst something that is an awful reflection on our country, and we can only hope that Neil Lennon can find it within himself to stand up to this, because if Neil Lennon has to go from this job, thuggery has won and a precedent has been set. If you get too successful, we might just threaten your life.
Frank?
Yeah, Jim, thanks for letting me come back in.
No problem.
Yeah, Hugh, the point you're saying there is correct, but you stop short, Hugh, because, you know, we as a society, individually, collectively, I've never really saw us stand shoulder to shoulder with Neil Lennon in this. I've not seen a newspaper campaign, your own newspaper, or any other newspaper, not just your own, any other newspaper, any other media outlet, really starting a campaign, standing shoulder to shoulder to this guy, whether you like Neil Lennon or not. This is about dignity. The dignity of a man to do his job, and simply because, and let's get to the crux of the matter here, this is from the first day he arrived at Celtic. The first game he played was against Dundee, and he was booed every time he touched the ball. And just the people who did that just asked themselves, was that because he had blonde hair? No. Was it because he played for Leicester City? No. It's because he was a Northern Ireland Catholic who came to play for Celtic. And let's deal with the matter here.
Well, Frank...
wait a minute. Just let me finish, you see, because...
Frank, you can't have the whole programme.
Jim, some points need 10 seconds. Some people need a little bit longer.
10 minutes, come on.
Jim, I'm asking you to be patient, please, Jim, and let me finish. Now, Gordon,
yes.
You've never been on the... Gordon, I think you're one of the most honest guys that Radio Clyde have on the programme.
Thank you very much, Frank.
No, it's not it's being sycophantic to you, Gordon. I'm simply saying, can you, from that side of the fence, Gordon, see that this man, simply because of his religion, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, he loves Celtic, he loves playing for Celtic, he loves managing for Celtic, what he's been subjected to... I love Scotland, but I'm ashamed to be Scottish right now.
Gordon.
Because we as a country don't do anything to protect this guy, verbally or collectively or individually. We stand back, and God forbid something terrible happens in whatever capacity, his family and himself should be stood shoulder to shoulder right now, and I don't see it anywhere.
Gordon.
Yeah, Frank, I think you're 100% spot on what you said. I think Hugh covered it fantastically well. He shouldn't be in this situation. He's got a family, he's got a young kid. I think as a player in past playing with Old Firm, footballers have got enough strength in them to handle things. I know it's very difficult, but when it goes into your family life, and I think it was Hugh, it says on Saturday, I think the biggest tragedy may be the fact that Neil Lennon, who's cutting his teeth at Celtic, and he's not won anything yet, but he's doing a fantastic job, he's got a good team on the park. I think he might look at the end of the season and decide that Scotland is not the place for him and walk away. And as Hugh says, that means the people out there who's doing all the wrong here, they win. And I think that's wrong, Frank.
Frank, thanks very much for your call. I'm sure you'll understand that we have to move on, but thank you very much for that. 0845 500 102.